Well, good evening. Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines, and up to our next little step forward in hopefully getting, hoping against hope actually, to get back into our little red house. It is coming along. A lot's done, a lot's happened, and it always seems like nothing's changed. But we have done, this is a floor that's under my desk because I was thinking of having plastic boxes which will be sealable, and I'll be able to push those in and out. Not as attractive, but I'll probably put up some kind of a fascia there to cover those boxes in, but it will still be a slide out thing along the bottom there. So we'll see what we can do on that, no doubt. So I got my screens, window shades I should say, are now up. We've had a lot of issues trying to get these so that they actually fit, and this is a 2-foot, a standard 24-inch, and it just fitted perfectly. It's not like I'll be yanking that up and down. It is what it is. At night it'll be closed like this, and then during the day opened only as much as that. This is Beth's. Beth's window is just slightly above the standard size, so she suffers a slight misfit. We got the nearest one to it. These have proved to be quite difficult to find in a uniform colour. This colour suits very well, I think. Very close. If you look, this very close to here, to this, and up here as well. And Beth's Desk. It's an pretty ideal colour match. Still lots of stuff that has to be sorted out, of course. Yeah, dining nook is all nicely finished. I've used that to do a little bit of work, so I've got little globs of hot glue on there. As I've always said, you know, if you don't actually stop using the area that you've finished, it becomes a workplace again. This is our couch, which we have done, but there was some work done here today, and so you always get some little mark that's on there, and I'll end up, see, this has got some blemishes now. It just can't be helped. You have to stand on that to get our cable sorted out. Well, we don't have cable, but that's the antenna. And so that's what was done today. James put that in and ran that cable down from the outside antenna. So that's all looking pretty well finished. We could live with that, couldn't we? All of this here is all finished. We did get nicely done on here. Couldn't get the little arm thing that opens so nicely. They do that in brass in the US or the UK, and it looks very nice. But the best that we could do was chain. I went to the Chinese equivalent, almost equivalent of the 99-cent store, in that everything is so much cheaper there, and I bought a dog chain. So this is part choker chain for a dog, a not very big dog, by the way, I would have thought. So that's what we're doing there. Of course, the love seat is looking pretty nice now. We've fitted the final trim that goes around on here and covers in the difference between the wood and the bottom there. So that's looking very nice. Really like the way that that's been done. And now we're into, I looked at Alturas for cushions. Cushions are horrendously expensive compared to what I think that they probably should be, but then if I made one of those cushions myself, I think I'd probably want more than they're asking. Right there, so it's only fair. People should be paid for what they do. We're in the kitchen. A lot going on here. We've put the shelf up, as you can see where the old shelf was, so there's some paint repair to be done there. The shelf painted in green to match the other unit, and we actually put a little stop on this. You can see that there's a stop there now, and that will take bigger items. Obviously these are very tiny items, but that's all we have to put up. And as I see things which are worth displaying, then I'll get them, and we will start to build the dreaded stuff. Now this was something that came in our last parcel from the States, and it was a special little item, but my friend Brian must have found this and saw that it was labelled London, and it's clotted cream fudge, so he bought that, and I actually think that that's so nicely done that we put it on display. And look, there's an old way of clamping down. Really very nice. So we kept that. The fudge didn't last very long. So that's all been lacquered, I should say varnished, but these bits haven't been varnished yet, so I'll be going over those. It does change the colour a little bit of a change of colour on that. I did notice with this that I've touched in on the top there, and the colour has a slight variance, so we'll have to see what happens with that, and maybe I'll have to just paint that whole door. You can see that there's a difference there, but that might just be due to the shine. And most of these things came from a friend in Hong Kong. No doubt if he is still watching, it's a long time ago. A subscriber who was involved in training young lads, getting them involved in projects, help, and so he was interested in what we were doing and got in touch, and then he sent us some very nice things from Hong Kong. So some of these things are very nice, like you can see that came. Now the box is looking terrible, of course, because we've had it for so long. You know, probably the best part of 3 years. And there's Peter Rabbit, the world of Peter Rabbit. And so what they are is the little nice fork spoons. It's a quite beautiful set. And one of those has gone into, somehow has disappeared into the into usage, so have to rescue that and get it back again. So very nice things, but it is stuff. There we go. Good night, Peter Rabbit. So we're all really moving on. I got that plain Jane cabinet which was untreated, and James just cut it down so that it would fit into there. It's not put in properly, it's not fitted is what I mean, and it needs to be dressed up a little bit. That's very plain for in here. All the knobs are all on, hinges on, all of that kind of thing is now getting right with it. We're going to have a hefty dust around. Now what we found is that we can find one 48 inch. This would be, it's actually 51 inches, but the nearest that we would be able to get would be 48 inches, which would be possibly here. If I look, I'm lying down, probably that edge over to this edge would be 48, so that would be quite adequate for a blind. And they're all that 1, 2, 3, and then this one here 4. So that's 4 that must be in the same color. And then in the kitchen, well, there's one there that's another 48 inch, and then a smaller one which was put in as an afterthought. Actually a subscriber said no, put another window in there, and I thought about it and thought, well, we don't really need a lot of wall space, which is what I was thinking we would save if we didn't have a window there. So we went ahead and put the window in, and now we're going to have a blind for it. We haven't started to make the transition from one place to another, so all of this has to be loaded up. All of this here, as you can see, is not kitchen stuff, so that has to go to the next storage unit, which we've just built, and that will be there. That's going to be a lockable cabinet. See, I don't suppose you can see that much, but that's in that little hallway between the extension and our house. I may as well go down and turn the lights on. Okay, well, see,